Northwest. Hello, international YouTubers. If you're driving and you want to see us goofing off on wherever YouTube on the camera is what I was trying to say. Good morning, Benny. You can go to YouTube and type in 11:50 a.m. I have a special guest today. I always have special guests. Benny, I always have special guests.
Yeah, that's why we do the show.
I mean, I don't know what's happening. We are going to talk about entrepreneurship. We're going to talk about reinventing. We're going to talk about franchising. We're going to talk about owning your business, getting you fired up, what that looks like, the pros, the cons, the when do I get excited? Well, I don't know, all that stuff. I'm going to bring Kim on in just a minute. But before we get started, I want to remind all of you, if you want to have a copy of the show, which of course I would love for that. And when you go to do a 4 or 5 star rating, is it 4 or 5 stars? Is it 3 star in the YouTube worlds? And
you can do as many stars as you want.
Well, then do all the stars.
I'm sure there's
all
a cap.
The star ratings on there.
Just go as high as you can go.
As high as you can go. Please do that. I would love it on SoundCloud, on iTunes, all the podcast world stuff. Of course, follow us here on YouTube and listen to us live, watch us live and all of our shenanigans. To the radio world, good morning to the Pacific Northwest. It's so nice to, well, no, I don't see you, but I'm at the coast, Benny. I'm at the Oregon coast. It's so good. I know I segued completely, but anyway.
Yeah, you're just a little, way. It's just to the south. It's no big deal. We're about the same on a sister scale,
Kinda.
Beautiful here. It's beautiful there.
Oh, the sunrise, full moon. Ooh, it's going to be so beautiful. I'm very excited. That's the main reason I'm out here. So for those of you watching us on YouTube, a disclaimer here. I'm in a cottage and I've got my dogs with me. So if they start barking, it is what it is. And Benny is going to do his best to navigate that. Thank you, Benny.
Drown out the dog sounds? I don't think I can help with that.
Oh, okay.
You're in a cottage. I kind of think it goes with the territory.
Yes. And it's so funny. Okay, I'm going to segue again because they have these signs all over. They have live bunny rabbits that they're wild, and then they've got raccoons, and they say, please, they're very wild, don't feed them, don't encourage them because they're gonna. I'm like, but
they're wild enough, they can feed themselves. They'll figure it out. So what you're trying to say.
Yeah, don't chase us, don't pet us. I've got this whole sign. I'm like, all these rules. Speaking of rules, we're going to break those boxes down. I got Kim Daly here with us today. Sue Lundquist here with the Gratitude Cafe. I know I noodled around, but that's just me. We're going to talk a serious topic here. We're going to have fun. We're going to educate. Of course, take what resonates with you and leave the rest, but come back because there's, it's that squeaky wheel kind of thing that happens to you that there's always something in there and you're like, oh, I gotta go back and look at that. Again, so let me go back to where I was going. You can go to SueLundquist.com/newsletter if you want a copy of the show. All of Kim's information will be there, in addition to all the social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, all of that. And I think we're going to be posting on LinkedIn as well. So you can, because this is a perfect platform for LinkedIn. Well, it always is, but all right, we're going to jump in. We are focusing on inspiring people. Kim, actually, before we got started, I was asking her what's been going on pre the COVID and all of that. And she's got some exciting news. I'm totally going to put her on the spot for it because it's Superstar Day and we're going to have that conversation. But of course, audience, you know this, I do the formal introduction and then I'm going to bring Kim on and you are going to hear her, get her energy and all of her beautiful juiciness. So Kim Daly is one of the America's top franchise consultant who has helped thousands of people explore franchise opportunities. For over 20 years, she has traveled the country as a keynote speaker and business breakout leader and has hosted her own live events, educating, motivating, and inspiring Americans to the dream of small business ownership through proven system of franchise. Now, I could go into the whole prior thing, but I'm going to let you jump in. Welcome, Kim. Hi, love.
Thank you. Thanks for the introduction. I'm so happy to be here. This is like such a fun little show.
Bing, 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 bing. I know. Well, okay, I can totally do and keep going with the formal, but like I was talking earlier, my audience knows this. We want to get to know you. So I'm going to let you take the lead, love.
So, Sue, I help people realize their dreams. That's the easiest way to say it. People come to me who are investors, who are W-2 employees looking for more than the corporate rat race, or maybe they're in career transition. Maybe they're looking for revenue that they own and control or can control because they worry about losing their job or have some instability in their future. And I teach them about franchise ownership, the differences between starting a business from scratch versus using the proven systems of a franchise. I help bring the ideas to their kind of goals and what they're trying to accomplish through the business. I present options to them, and then I coach them through their due diligence process so that they can know they're asking the right questions, talking to the right people, thinking all the way through it, sometimes challenging people's thoughts, sometimes helping people through the fear and anxiety that is very natural in this process, right? Whenever you're stepping out of your comfort zone, doing something for the first time, there's a lot of ways to talk yourself out of it. And the Daily Coach is going to help you talk yourself into it.
Oh yeah, the self-sabotage. Yes.
Yeah, well, I firmly believe that everybody who comes to me wants the outcome of saying yes. And my job is to help them help themselves, right? And everybody needs me in a little bit of a different way, just based on how experienced they are with investments or not, or maybe a lot of people don't have any experience. So everybody just needs a little bit different. And that's what's made my business so inspiring and so fun. For 19 years, I've been doing this. And yeah, that's my story. That's what I do. And everything I do is free for people. They never pay me any money. I'm paid like a recruiter. So if I match a candidate with a franchise, the franchisor actually pays me at the end of their process.
Look at you living your dreams, sis.
I am living my dream, girl.
Wow. Well, wait a minute. Okay, wait. So back up. How did this all start? Where's this juicy fire coming from? Really?
So like in franchising, we always say, like, how did franchising find you? Because it's not like I woke up one day and was like, oh, I can't go be a franchise consultant, right? Like, said nobody ever.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to be when I was little was I wanted to be a motivational speaker. And you know what? I had this very real moment. One day I was in a hotel in Dallas. This was about 10 years ago. And I was getting ready to go host a live event. And I just had this like full body tingling sensation, like, oh my gosh, look at me. I'm a motivational speaker. Like when you're 15 years old and you want to be a motivational speaker, like, how do you do that? So you decide to go to school for medicine, and I was on my way to med school, and I actually answered a classified ad in the newspaper, which is for a franchise consulting company, not the company I'm part of now. And it literally changed my life, or so I thought, only to wake up years later and go, God, you're pretty awesome. Yeah, I thought I was weaving like this, and all along he was taking me exactly where I was always meant to be.
Wow. I call he Gus, he, she, it, Gus, God, universe, source, spirit, purple chopsticks, whatever it is. I love that. So, massive leap of faith too, right? Not knowing. And also I want to go back to what you were saying about how you help entrepreneurs and the franchise, because you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what to ask. You just simply don't know. And I think that's really important to have that advocate for you. You're stepping into this whole ring. You've got the passion, and I'm speaking from personal experience here. Kinda. Yes. Totally. You're stepping into, I can remember, and I'm going to just nibble on this a little bit because I want people that are listening to be inspired, even though you don't know what's going to happen. However, you have this passion inside of you. You just know, and you add faith to that, faith being, I got this, it's going to be okay, I'm just going to go. There's a massive leap of faith in that, and just do it. But where I also was going to go, Kim, is also give Kim a call, go to her YouTube so she can help you with, the questions that you don't know or you do know, and you need to kind of navigate and work your way through that. So how many businesses have you started and sold, or is that the conversation? I mean, because I know people are like, well, she's been doing this for 19, 20 years. What does that look like? all of that?
I'm the consultant. So my full-time focus is on my franchise business. So I am like a franchisee of a company called Franchise, where we help other people
Okay.
explore franchises. So this is my business. And a lot of times, if you look at the reviews on the Daily Coach website, people identify that I'm less of a coach and more of a mentor, because I am living my dreams through my franchise. And it's the lessons and experiences and trial and error that I'm figuring out every single day as a business owner myself, that then I'm able to bring to my candidates to help them. So I'll tell the story real quick. I was an average performing consultant for 8 years. And then I did one thing. This was back in 2011. I committed myself. It was sort of a hypothesis, like what would happen if? And the if was, what would happen if I focused only on what I can control in my business and maximize that, kind of forgetting about the rest. And so for 1 year, I put my head down. I stayed committed to my goal. I became an expert at that one thing. I'll tell you what the one thing is if you want to know.
Yes,
And
yes. I'm like,
well, 1 year later, I had built the largest franchise consulting business in the history of franchise consulting. So I went from an average performing consultant franchisee to a history maker within 1 year. I was the same me, franchise was the same process, but I created two very different results. And that was back in 2012. I've since replicated that. I've increased that. I've turned it into a science, and it's a science that I can share with all of my candidates. So when they're working with me, yes, they come to me to say, Kim, I don't know what I don't know. I don't even know what business I want to invest in, but there's so much more that goes into the coaching that I'm able to offer them now, because as I've been living my dream and I've become a history maker in my industry, I tell my candidates, I want to help you avoid 8 years being average. I want to help you go straight to the top of the class, be the rookie of the year, build that $1 million business as fast as you can. If that's your goal, whatever your goal is, I want to help you get there.
Boom, drop the mic. Okay, Benny, we're done. That's it. I mean, you haven't done this before at all. I love it. So inspiring. And what I want you to take away, if you haven't already, listen to her, listen to the excitement, listen to the education and the knowledge. And not only that, which is something important to me, it's walking the talk, right? You've walked the talk, you've had the experience, and it's that analogy of, I'm not going to take birthing advice from someone who's not given birth. Love you to death, but not going to happen.
I'll still always tell my people, look, my advice is free. You don't have to do anything I ever tell you to do, right? Like, it's free advice. But also, I firmly believe that experience is the only real teacher. Like, I can tell you how to ride a bike, but until you get on a bike and feel what it feels like to balance a bike underneath you, you can't really understand what it's like to ride a bike, right? And it's going to be the same thing. I can teach people what I did, which is going to be the thing that drives any business forward at a rocket ship pace. Because the thing is, when I said focus on what I could control, it's sales, it's marketing, it's prospecting, it's driving a pipeline of activity. So, but until people go out and do that for themselves, they really don't have the full wisdom or understanding of what it takes to do it. So we can teach you in business school, but it's the life experience that is the actual teacher.
Yes. Foundation comes up for me. And I have had education, but the majority of my experience is all real life, 20 plus years of real life, jumping in the deep end, going, oh, here we go. And swimming and pulling people. Hey, and sometimes there was some drowning, and I got, look, I'm still right here. It's all okay. Listen to this analogy. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's why, like, when people come to the idea of owning a business, but they have a real life with a mortgage and kids and college bills, and they can't afford to take the full risk of entrepreneurship, this is where franchising wins, because you can jump off that diving board into the safety net that a proven franchise system can bring to you, with marketing plans, proven marketing plans that get the phone to ring, with training. So you don't have to come as an industry expert. You can come to the idea of owning a business you know nothing about, and you can go out there the first year and be rookie of the year if you maximize the plan. So you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself when you're in a franchise, right? So in franchise business, you have the opportunity to scale this business faster because you get to work on it rather than in it. And in many cases, that's why I don't need people who are industry experts or widget experts to come to the idea of owning a business they know something about. In fact, I would challenge my candidates that if you know something about it before you're paying a franchisor for it, you might not be as coachable, right? You might not be as willing to follow their process as if you know nothing about it and you're sort of ego checked at the door, humbled, saying, I know that I don't know anything here. So teach me, Obi-Wan, and I will do as you say. And listen, following the franchisor's lead is one of the most important factors to success in a franchise business. Doing what the franchisor says to do, which seems so basic, but it's not as easy as you think, because when fear kicks in, or maybe again your ego, you think you know it, it's hard to always be coachable and open.
Oh, that's so good. And that's paramount for life. I mean, come on, check that darn ego at the door. I mean, it's life, it's relationships. I mean, that's a whole umbrella of a message, and it's even more if we're talking about your lifestyle and the money that's going to pay for college, the money that's going to pay your mortgage. It would behoove you to find somebody like yourself that's going to check those boxes, help you answer the questions, and moving forward. I love that. And okay, so what's happening for me, and this is just organic conversation, entrepreneurship and owning a franchise and creating your own, because I created mine out of nothing. It wasn't there. I needed it. So I created it. So how talk to me about what I just said and franchising, because I've got entrepreneurs. You're nodding your head. Yes. You know where I'm going with this, right? Go ahead.
Yeah. So an entrepreneur is out there as an inventor, creating every single thing from scratch. So you have an idea, you develop maybe an understanding or an idea of who your ideal customer is. You come up with the marketing that you think will attract those customers. You make assumptions about what the customer would be willing to pay, and even what the language around the marketing has to be to get those people to call you or to come to you. You have to make a lot of assumptions and guesses, and that's where that trial and error comes in. And that's why the failure rate in the pure startup entrepreneurial world is so high. It's not because entrepreneurs don't have good ideas. It's because they typically don't have enough money to support the trial and error in the figuring out how to refine that idea to get it to where they can build a positively cash flowing business. So in a franchise, from somebody else has already done all of that trial and error. You're paying what we call a franchise fee. That's the one-time fee that you give to the franchisor. Kim Daly calls that the cost of entry. It opens the gate to Disneyland and buys you instant access. So from day one, you have a ready-made business plan. You have proven marketing. The franchisor has clearly defined who the customer is, how many of those customers you're going to need to build a positively cash flowing business, and even the approximate time frame in which it's going to take to build that positively cash flowing business. How many frustrating circumstances could be avoided in life if our expectations were set properly from the beginning?
Oh, hello.
Right? Like, no matter what it is, going to relationship, raising children, just there's so many things in life that I've realized that if my expectations are right, life is going to be, and therein lies the let go of the expectation.
I know. Like, hang on.
It's like a whole Buddha Zen moment, but we all sort of like come up with our own idea of how it should go. And it kind of creates some rigidity that if you let go of that and you're more willing to go with the flow, but that's really hard when you've quit your job and you need this business to make money within a year, or else you can't pay your mortgage, right? Or maintain your standard of living. Therein lies the gap. And that's where franchising meets people, because there is a proven track record that we can follow. And the franchisor will guide your initial due diligence. But then one of the most important things my candidates will do is go out and interview the existing franchise owners. So when you're an entrepreneur, you had to create everything from scratch. You're on an island. It's lonely. Entrepreneurship is lonely because nobody else understands you and what you're trying to do. In a franchise, we work collectively, we work collaboratively. So all of the other franchisees, they're not competitors. They're all shareholders in the same brand. They want to share what they've learned. Like when I became a history maker in my company, I wanted to share what I did with other consultants. And now there are a couple guys who beat me. Like they took what I did and then they supersized it. But I look at that like that's amazing. Like right? Like I feel so satisfied with that. And in a franchise, we're working together to build the brand. And so we rely on the validation from these other franchise owners, even before we say yes to the business, to help us better set our expectations, to understand from their perspective how it went, knowing what they know now. Would they even do it again? How much money did it take? How long did it take? And this is what allows franchisees to come out of the gate faster, to come out of the gate more confident, to come out of the gate with just more experience in your head before you say yes. Then say that entrepreneur again, who's making a lot of assumptions, and there's really no way to validate if those assumptions are true or not, except trial and error.
Yeah, lots of trial and error for sure.
Yeah.
And delegation. I have no idea. Don't want the energy. You do that. I get it. But I love this from the franchise perspective. That's all taken care of. You've got the plan. It's like plug and go, as if I can say that.
Plug and play. But that doesn't mean that franchising is foolproof. So there are a lot of myths out there like, okay, so Kim, if it's so good, then why do people fail?
Right.
Well, the tools are there, but it's what people do with the tools. The tools for franchise were always there for the first 8 years that I did this, but it's what I did with the tools from one year to the next that made all the difference in the world. Right?
What do you do with the tools? And it's accountability and responsibility, right?
Oh my gosh, it's all about ownership. That's the funny thing. People come wanting to own their future and own their time. But when I ask them to really own it by like taking control of the sales and marketing and prospecting, the parts that most people say, I don't want to do it. Right? I want the franchisor to do that for me. You can never fully own a business if you don't fully own what drives the greatest result in your business, which in every single business will always be lead generation. Because look, if every business had all the customers it needed, no business would ever fail. And when people are struggling in a franchise and they call me and they're blaming it on the territory and they're blaming it on the marketing and they're blaming it on the economy and they're blaming it on the president and they're blaming on anything other than themselves. Now, those things can make a business more difficult or make a business easier for sure. But ultimately, success in a business is always an internal job. And it's always based on controlling that lead flow, controlling customer acquisition.
Lead flow, customer acquisition. I get this nervous feeling in my tummy because we're doing that whole funnel system right now. And and we were going to talk about that prior to getting on here. But all right, guys, we are going to take a quick commercial break. Holy simoles, Kim Daly is filling my head. I feel like I want to jump into franchising and do all that. And I'm like, I know I got the gusto. I've been doing this, right? It's just, and you know what? My next question to you when we come back is, how do you choose what franchise best fits for you? Because I think that's really, really important. And what kind of franchise are out there? What is it that fires you up? So when we come back from our commercial break, we're going to continue with Kim and we're going to have this conversation. And we're going to talk about that entrepreneurship versus the franchise. And she did a really good job of defining that just a second ago. And if you missed it, go back and listen to it because replay, replay, replay. All right. Sue Lundquist here with Gratitude Cafe. We're going to be right back.
Cool. All clear. Still live on YouTube.
Hey, YouTubers. Oh my God, this is so good. I love that definition between franchise and entrepreneurship because I can tell you, good gravy, and the whole funnel system. That's exactly that's where I was going with, because I have an online program and I was doing live workshops or one-on-one coaching, but I want one-to-many. I want to make money while I sleep. And the tools that I have, oh, go ahead. What?
It's original sales.
I know. I want to make money when I sleep, but but above and beyond that, being of service, because I know the traumas and what my soul came into this world, whatever the conversation is. And I use trauma only as an adjective to describe. And the audience has heard me talk about this before. The traumas that I've gone through has led me to where I'm at today. And where I'm at today is finding real life, real time, self-regulating tools to help people in that moment. I know when I'm in fight or flight, I don't need a Rubik's Cube. I can't. You know, we've got beautiful wisdom makers of the Tony Robbins of the worlds and all of this giving us great information. And you come back from a workshop like that and you're like, I just dropped my drawers. I have no idea what he said. I know I'm fired up, but because you were in fight or flight already, and I'm speaking from experience in doing these workshops, whether it's him or somebody else, you're in that fight or flight. And yes, you want to learn. And yes, you have that drive and you really are excited. And then it just is like, so then you need first, I'm like, no, back up. You need the self-regulating tools. You need it right now. Take a minute, do some breathing, get heart centered, because when you're in fight or flight, you're not going to retain anything. It's just not. So long and short of what I just said, that's where I'm at. That's my niche.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it. Do you follow Dr. Joe Dispenza? I
have been with Dr. Joe Dispenza for over 13 years. I was one of his team leaders and for almost 3 years. Yeah. Pre-COVID.
I went to my first Joe event November of 2020.
Which one were you at? Which one?
Marco Island.
Oh my gosh, I was there. Oh, well, okay. Yes, I traveled the world with him. Yeah. Well, we're going to have that conversation, sis. Yeah. All right, here we go. Oh, beautiful, Benny. Thank you. I kind of wanted you to keep playing that. That was good.
Wish it could.
Yes. Oh, that's right. The FCC rules and all that.
Oh, there's just those things.
Oh, just those. Welcome back, Radio World. Hello, YouTube world. We just noodled on a conversation in YouTube. I kind of rambled on about my niche and stuff like that. And beautiful Kim Daly, she just sat there and listened and loved on me, and it was wonderful. We have been talking about Kim and honestly making history. She's making history, and she is helping countless thousands of people do the same and foster that change, not only within themselves, because when you own a franchise, when you take that ownership, again, top of the hour, we were talking about, yes, you can jump into a franchise, but, and I say but purposely, if you do not take ownership, if you do not take responsibility and accountability for what is already in place, doing the work, there's already a set program right there. You know, just stop the complaining, put the ego to the side and do the work, follow it, do it. And Kim has helped thousands of people do just that. You had talked about So my mind's totally going and I forgot what I was going to talk about. Do you remember
How do you select the right business?
That's it. That's what it was. Yeah. Cause we started talking about all the, thank you, Benny. Thank you, Kim. Keeping me on track. Cause I get so excited. Yeah.
That's a good question.
Like, yes. All right. So how do you choose? I can hear it. I hear it in myself. So I know the audience is asking the same thing. There's so many franchises out there. How do I choose? How do you help me choose a franchise that I'm going to thrive in, that I'm going to be of service and help the environment, help people? Because that would be my driving force is how do I help? How am I going to be of service? Right.
Love it. I love it. So for sure, Sue, if you're out there on your own trying to figure out among all the different options, what is the right franchise, it has to feel like a daunting task. One of the things I haven't said yet, that's probably the most important thing for any listener to ever hear out of Kim Daly's mouth. When you invest in a franchise, you are not buying a widget and you are not buying a brand. You are buying people. The difference between an entrepreneur and a franchisee is an entrepreneur is doing it on their own. A franchisee is doing it with other people. So
that advocate for you because it's the same thing, right?
And 2020 was really the best living proof of how collaboratively, collectively, we are stronger together. Widgets and brands did not keep doors open, but strong leadership did. Leadership that went to bat for franchisees, that got them PPP money, that were fighting with landlords to get rid of the rent, that were, figuring out safe protocols so that doors could be reopened. It was leadership. I have been here for 19 years on my soapbox saying, please don't buy a hobby. Please don't invest in something because you think your community needs it. Find a business that matches what you're trying to accomplish, because the business is just the vehicle that's going to drive your life professionally, personally, and financially to the new place. So when I work with candidates, I'm infinitely more interested in what is your vision? What do you want your life to look like and be like in 3, 5, 10 years? And what role do you want this business to play? The whole role, only a half of the role, in getting you from here to there. So we define characteristics. We talk about the type of people you want to create jobs for. We talk about the impact. Is that essential? Is that a nice bonus? We talk about the kind of customers that you want to serve. So I have a whole 2-step process in gathering the data personally, professionally, and financially. I teach my candidates what their money buys. So if you're out there trying to figure out what can you afford, I think many times people go too low. But money buys options, like buying a car. The more money you have, the more options you have, but you don't need millions of dollars. There are franchises that are $40,000, $50,000 investments, just as much as there are businesses that are $1 million, $2 million, $3 million investments, and everything in between. Franchising goes way beyond food and retail. Like, a lot of executives will come to me and say, Kim, I love the idea of owning a franchise, but I'm sorry, I'm just not going to go own a Jersey Mike's. I'm like, I don't want you to do that anyway. As one of the top consultants in the country, I very rarely ever help anybody get into food. Like, you have to beg me to show you food. Food is just one of the hardest ways to make money. So people say, well, then what do you, and I almost never do retail, like big inventory, retail-based business, like a dollar store or something like that. So then what are you leaning people to, Kim? Well, I'm not leaning people to anything. I mean, I'll bring you, I've got it all. I'll bring you if you feel that that's really what you want. But what I really love are businesses with low fixed costs, meaning if no one's coming in, you're not bleeding to keep your doors open. Sue, when was that probably a really nice characteristic in a business to have? 2020?
I know. Anyone? Oh, I don't know. The last couple of years, perhaps.
Popular over here at the Daily Coach. Low fixed costs, high margins, simple operations. Like, who doesn't want a business with those characteristics? but how do you find them on your own? I mean, I know, but most importantly, what I'm lending to my candidates are my 20 years of relationships. I know which franchisors genuinely care about people's success, which franchisors will admit, hey, we're in the royalty business, but we're making money after you make money because you make money. Because not every franchisor is worthy of your investment. Not every franchisor genuinely cares if you're successful. So there are thousands of options out there, 3,000, 4,000 franchises. How do you select the right one on your own? I really don't know. But if you come to me, I have all those relationships and 20 years of track record in matching people with the right franchises. And on the dailycoach.com website, there are hundreds of testimonials from people, and you can see like my track record in matching people. Many times, the last thing I'll say, many times people end up saying yes to a business that they never would have found on their own or even considered. And that's really the sweet spot of my life. And I just sit over here smiling, going, I'm just sure, like some company that again, they never would have picked because it's something they know nothing about. And their assumption was, well, I can't own a business that I don't know anything about.
And then that's when your brilliance comes in, right? I love that. I love that. You've gotten me all fired up, this whole entrepreneurship. I'm like, although I love what I do. I love what I have and what I'm doing. It's just creating the funnel. And I get it. I love the idea of the plug and play. Yes, of course you have to show up. Yes, of course you have to be accountable and responsible. I've already been doing that for 10 plus years. Talk to me some more about, so I'm totally new to the franchise. How do I don't even know what questions to ask. I'm so curious now. I'm like, where do I find franchisees? And of course, no, I don't want a dollar store. And I certainly don't want a Jersey Mike or something like that. If I'm asking it, the audience is asking. So do they come to Kim Daly? Do they listen to all your free podcasts? Do they call you? What happens?
Yeah. So please reach directly out to me. My service is one-on-one. I'll work with you and your spouse, you and your partner, whoever you're wanting to run this business with. But it's a process of getting to know my candidates, what's important to them, what they're trying to achieve, what they can comfortably afford to invest in, and then bringing my relationships to that model that we've built. And then once we have a select group of 3 to 5 companies, then guiding their due diligence process again, so they know they're asking the right questions, right, talking to the right people, and getting to that place where they can say yes. But as I was saying in the first half of the show, my coaching goes way beyond just finding companies and like guiding the due diligence or the research, because I am a personal development junkie. And because I am interested myself in achieving world-class results in my business and figuring out how to leverage, I can offer so much more to my candidates because I'm giving them my experiences, that the things I've figured out through trial and error, the things I've learned by, 19 years of doing this, so that they can maybe hear it and utilize it and help get out of the gate faster for their business. So to answer the question you asked, it's a one-to-one. You reach directly out to me. You can email me, Kim at The Daily Coach. You can go through my website, thedailycoach.com. Please go to YouTube. Sue and I were talking before the show. So I used to travel the country and host live events. That's how I would find audiences of people that wanted to work with me. And then, of course, when I couldn't fly and travel and create an audience, I had to reinvent myself. And that reinvention led to me launching an entire YouTube channel, which is kimdaly.tv. And my last name is spelled D-A-L-Y. So Kim Daly TV has turned into like one of the greatest adaptations. Like it's one of those things of like, I could have looked at the obstacle and stayed there and kind of like stay paralyzed. But instead I chose to try to figure out how to find the opportunity. And I had a few videos out there on YouTube because I grew up on the stage. I'm a performer as a young kid, and I grew up in the Miss America pageant organization. So having an audience is not something that I don't enjoy. And so it really was like the first time I was like, oh my gosh, like, let's just start making more videos. And I found a producer and we started building the channel. I tell all my family and friends, like, Kim Daly TV is the greatest thing I've ever done. I honestly don't care if I never generated it. It's already not true, but never generated not one candidate from it, because I am having the time of my life.
I can see that, feel that.
My heart, helping people learn what's truth about franchising, that I just know when I'm in that place, only amazing things can happen.
Oh, I can feel it, see it. Oh, I love it, love it, love it. I love it. And I love that you take so much passion and you love what you're doing. I think that is a huge foundation piece. And there's like this thing going on in my head. I'm like, okay, she is an entrepreneur, but she's a franchisor, but she's also teaching entrepreneurs to be franchising. I'm doing this ding, ding, ding.
All franchisees are entrepreneurs, right? You have to have the dream for freedom and control and ownership, which is what an entrepreneur is. It's just that you're buying down the learning curve by partnering yourself with people rather than going out and doing it yourself. But that doesn't mean that you can't bring your own ideas. Like, so Franchise said, you've got to generate leads. They didn't tell me to go host live events. They certainly didn't tell me to be on a podcast. They certainly didn't tell me to have a YouTube channel. Those were all my own creative ideas on how to fulfill what I needed to fulfill in order to build my business. You get it?
Yeah.
So every franchise has the same thing. They're going to tell you, this is what you've got to do, but then it's up to you to bring you. And other consultants can certainly do what I'm doing, and they'll bring themselves to it. So we're not really competing, because there isn't, if you're a Joe Dispenza follower, there is no competition. Like, we're all here to we're all doing it for us and ourselves. Like, nobody can be me better than me. And I'm going to be the best me that I can be. And they can be the best them that they can be. And we'll attract, like, we might all be looking for people who want to own a franchise, but we're attracting a different person. Somebody who's a little less emotional, a little less passionate, maybe a little more dry and serious and focused on the fundamentals, will attract the candidate that's a little more dry and maybe turned off by my passion, right? And that's okay. I don't need everybody.
No.
I just need my people.
I just need my people. Yes.
Are more passionate way, because they bring each other like me and you too.
There goes the mic. Bing, bing. We're going to jump through this screen. You guys, if you're listening to us on radio or podcast or any of this, you guys have got to go to YouTube. We're in love. There's a big love fest happening. But for those of you driving, yes, please pull over if you want to hit the YouTube. But you can find us on YouTube at 11:50 a.m. And of course, just like Kim was talking about, you can go to her YouTube channel, which is Kim Daly TV. I'm sure you can type in on the top bar and search Kim Daly and you're going to find her, right? Yes, beautiful blonde bombshell. So
blonde, actually.
Well,
so look at that.
We're segueing this. We can keep doing this for like hours. This is so fun. So talk to me about how, because mindset is important to me, and personal development and self-regulating. We had that whole conversation. It's new perspective, new thoughts, new ideas. It's still you, just 2.0. So how do you self-regulate when the stuff hits the fan? What do you do, not only as an entrepreneur, but somebody that's going to step into the rink and inspire other people to do exactly what you're doing above and more and beyond?
100%, Sue. So mindset is everything in success in anything that we do in life. your ability to control your thoughts will be the greatest determining factor of what you're able to accomplish. Like, it's just that simple.
Mhm.
Most people want to react rather than deliberately create. And that's not a statement of judgment. It's just hopefully people hear that. And it's a realization, right? And every single day, we're human. We all react. But the less that we can react and the more that we can deliberately respond or proactively drive, the happier we're going to be. Because look, the reason people are frustrated in their business is typically because they don't feel in control.
Mm.
And so, okay, let's break it down and figure out where, all the way back up to the top of it, the funnel though, like, where is the ultimate control? What's the number one thing we all can control? What we're thinking about. So what we think about is what we bring about, right? Because it's what we're going to talk about. What we talk about, look at words create life.
Right.
So if you want to create a different life, you have to change what you're talking about. You change what you're talking about by changing what you're thinking about. So let me give you a couple of very specific examples of how I've deliberately created unbelievable achievements simply by talking about them.
Mm.
So the first thing is, I wanted to write a book. So I make declaration statements. I have them right here. So I make declaration statements. I declare every single day who I am. This is a technique you can get from any motivational speaker or, even pastors of churches. And I am one of these personal development people that I don't just read the book. Like, I actually am in the small percentage of people that probably, that does the exercises. Like, I want to try to make these tools work. And so I actually got the declaration statements from Joel Osteen. And so this was back in 2018. I was making the declaration. I wanted to write a book. So I said, I am going to declare that I am a published author. But because Kim Daly always has like the biggest goal, I can never just be like a published author. I was like, I am a New York Times. I'm like, nah, I'm not into the New York Times. I'm like, I am an international best-selling author. That's what I want to declare. Because how much bigger can you get than that? So for 1 year, every morning when I come to work and before I get on the phone, I make my declaration statements about my day, about who I am, to set my mindset, to set my speech in the right place, my heart in the right place. I declared that I was an international best-selling author. So at the end of the year, I didn't get motivated to write the book. So I stopped saying it because that was my intent, to get motivated to write a book if it was on my mind every day. Well, the momentum of what I had created was already underway. And the way the universe works is you don't have to effort. If you can consistently, without resistance, talk about what you want, it is yours. Ask and it is given, period. Well, in July of 2020, a publisher from the UK reached out to me and said, we're publishing a book on franchising with multiple franchising experts. We'd like you to participate. I was in no way connecting this to my book thing. I said, of course I'll participate. That sounds fun. Hey, and guess what I wrote about, Sue? I wrote about mindset.
Oh, of course you did.
Of course I did. And anyway, when I handed in I only had to write one chapter. When I handed in my chapter, we were doing a Zoom, and Peter said to me, get ready, because every book that we've published like this has gone on to become an international best-selling book. And that was a life-changing moment. I knew before one page of that book had been published that it already was an international best-selling book. In the first 7 days that Franchising Freedom came out, it was published in 12 languages. It was #1 in the US in small business, #1 in the UK, #2 in Australia. It was an international best-selling book. And I, Kim Daly, was an international best-selling author, and I never had to write the stinking book.
I love it. And there's a huge message. Kim, I'm so proud of you for stepping in the ring. Thank you. And showing up for all of us. And even more, it's not always going to show up how you think it's going to show up. I can't tell. I lost her voice. Betty. Oh, there you are.
To you. The effort for that. Just do an effort. I wrote a stinking chapter on mindset, which I could write in my sleep.
I love it. But it's such an important conversation to have, because back to the top of the hour, controlling and the ego, and this is how it's got to be. This is how it's got to show up. And then us evolving in the conversation, you got to just have faith. Yes, my declaration, set the intention, like before I get on my radio show, before I go to a coffee shop, before I have a conversation, I set my intention, how I'm going to show up, how it's going to be, how the intention of the radio show is going to be. And it's that frequency, it's that energy, right? Then release the outcome, release it. Because Gus, God in your source, spirit, whatever, purple chopsticks, doesn't matter. They know best. They know best. I made, and you'll appreciate this. I think you'll appreciate this, Kim. I had made, or I have made conversations and agreements with the universe, because I don't want any more grizzly bears. I said, let's just give them to me in butterflies, which they do already. However, us as humans, we get so controlling, we get so wrapped up in societal and all that stuff. We can have the whole conversation around that, but we're running out of time. But where I'm going with this is I said, okay, no more grizzly bears, please. Let's just do butterflies. And I promise you that I will stay in that state of awareness and love and open heart. And I will take the messages. I will chew on the messages. I will say yes to them, even though I don't know what's happening. I'm just going to do it. So yes, go with the butterflies, go with the faith. No more grizzly bears, please. We've got about 2 minutes here. I want to remind everybody how to get a hold of you. Kim Daly, you can go to Kim Daly TV on YouTube. I'll have all this information listed for you on the newsletter. If you don't have the newsletter, go to SueLundquist.com/newsletter. You can also, well, I would just say go to Kim Daly TV, and all the information is going to be there. And you've got tons of free information. Oh my God, I don't want to get off this show. I want to keep talking and chatting. I know. All right, we've got literally a minute and a half. Is there anything that you would like to say, love?
Thank you for having me as a guest on your show. It's such an honor to share what I know. I, like you, have a heart to serve and to give. And I just want anybody who's inspired with the idea of control, freedom, ownership. If you're interested in learning about franchising, it doesn't have to be a yes. My process is no obligation. It's just there to help you learn what you don't know. And once you know it, you'll know if it's for you or not. So I really encourage you to just reach out to me, and we'll have a lot of fun, and we'll see if, you never know. You never know if you'll end up becoming a business owner.
Babe, I'm totally reaching out to you. I want to have this conversation. I just want to have a conversation. I get so curious, and I love the creative aspect of it, and also being of service. So I would love to have that conversation with you. All right, you guys. You got to go check her out. Go to YouTube, Kim Daly TV, and go to YouTube. All that information will be on SueLundquist.com/newsletter if that's what you would like to do. All right. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute treat, and I'm beyond grateful and thankful.